For them, a smartphone is not just a gadget, but an extension of their own personality. The first generation that never knew a world without the internet has created a fundamentally new language of emotions. Instead of awkward confessions in school corridors, a like on an old photo at 2 in the morning. Instead of long phone calls, voice messages, and late-night video calls. Their relationships develop simultaneously in physical and digital dimensions, creating a unique emotional landscape incomprehensible to older generations. Digital natives perceive technology not as a tool, but as a natural environment for the existence of feelings. For them, romance is not only joint walks under the moon, but also shared playlists that can be listened to from different ends of the world. Intimacy is not only physical proximity, but also the trust to show their true face without filters in a morning video conference. They create emotional connections through shared memes and jokes, understandable only to the two of them. Handwritten letters were once the primary way to express deep feelings. Pages, imbued with perfume, held the trembling of the heart, and every word was chosen with special care. Today, this role is played by a red heart sent at 2 in the morning. Emojis, stickers, and memes have become the new language of love. Generations Z and Alpha have learned to imbue minimalistic symbols with enormous emotional charge. A solitary flame in a direct message can mean more than a long confession. A meme sent at the right moment becomes an intimate code between two people. It seems that digital language is primitive, but this is an illusion. In fact, it is incredibly nuanced. The difference between a regular heart and a heart with sparkles can be colossal in the context of a relationship. Young people masterfully read these micro-signals, building complex emotional maps of communication. Collections of saved memes have replaced photo albums. Shared jokes, understood only by two, create a unique space of intimacy. He sent me this sticker, and I immediately understood that he felt the same way. A typical story of a modern romance. But this new form of expressing feelings is no less profound. When a teenager spends hours picking the perfect playlist for their crush, they put no less soul into it than their parents did writing love letters. Digital language is simply more concentrated, like an espresso compared to an Americano of feelings. In the digital age, likes have become a true currency of relationships. A double tap on a photo is not just a mechanical action, but a carefully considered gesture of attention. For generations Z and Alpha, every like carries its own weight and meaning in the complex system of digital tokens of affection. Psychologists call this the like economy, a system where attention is measured in digital reactions. "He liked my photo 30 seconds after I posted it" is the modern equivalent of "he called right after the date." The speed of reaction is interpreted as a measure of interest, and the absence of a like can cause a real storm of emotions. A special language is forming around like patterns. A like at 2 in the morning on a 3-year-old photo has become a universally recognized signal of romantic interest. A kind of digital admission that a person is so interested they are exploring the deepest depths of your profile. Young people have developed an entire science of interpreting digital gestures. A like from a potential partner on a photo where you don't look your best is perceived as a sign of sincere affection. Regular likes on a close person's posts are a form of support and a display of care. The absence of an expected reaction can cause a real crisis in relationships. At the same time, like inflation is a real problem in modern relationships. When likes are given too generously, their value decreases. Therefore, many members of Generation Z deliberately limit the number of likes, making each one a more significant gesture. Imagine a world where the common phrase, "I love you," can be replaced by a suitable meme. And it doesn't make the feeling any less sincere. Memes have become the universal language of digital generations. a peculiar cultural code that allows for the transmission of complex emotional states through simple images with text. These aren't just pictures. They're an entire communication system with its own grammar, syntax, and dialects. For generations Z and Alpha, a meme can say more than 1,000 words, especially when it comes to feelings that are difficult to express directly. A meme with a cat or a frame from a favorite movie, sent at the right moment, becomes a powerful tool for emotional connection between partners. Unlike standard phrases, which can sound trite, memes allow for the addition of a layer of irony, self-awareness, or cultural context. When two people laugh at the same meme, they're not just sharing a joke, they're confirming a shared perception of the world. Research shows that couples who regularly exchange memes form a special type of intimacy based on a shared sense of humor. Over time, each couple develops its own collection of inside memes, modified or specially created images understood only by them. These digital artifacts become a new generation's unique family heirlooms. It's important to understand that memes are not a primitivization of communication, but its evolution. They allow young people to discuss complex and uncomfortable topics, bypassing social awkwardness. Through memes, one can confess fears, express vulnerability, or communicate needs while maintaining a protective layer of humor. This is especially crucial for generations that grew up in an era of information overload and emotional burnout. Remember the times when photos were stored in albums and personal moments stayed with us forever? Snapchat and Instagram stories have turned this notion upside down. Now, the most intimate moments exist for only 24 hours, then vanish into digital oblivion. And this isn't a bug, it's a feature of modern relationships. Disappearing content has created a paradoxical form of intimacy. When a message or photo is about to vanish, we feel freer, sharing more personal, genuine, unedited content. I can show you what I look like in the morning without makeup, because in a day it will disappear. A new form of trust in the digital age. Temporary posts shape a special rhythm of relationships. Morning stories with coffee, daytime work moments, evening reflections. Partners seem to live the day together, even while in different places. This creates a feeling of constant presence in each other's lives, without the need for continuous communication. Ephemerality has become part of the romantic language. He screenshotted my story, the modern equivalent of he saved my letter. Archiving temporary content has turned into a gesture of special significance, a way to say, I want to preserve this moment forever. But there's also a downside. Getting used to fleetingness, young people perceive permanence differently. Studies show that generations raised on disappearing content often struggle with long-term commitments. If everything around is temporary, why should relationships be an exception? If courting once began with awkward phone calls and bouquets of flowers, today, the first step toward a relationship can be made with a single super-like in a dating app. The digital space has created its own rituals of romantic interaction, just as significant for young people as a first dance or a moonlight stroll once was. Modern gestures of attention have taken on a digital form. A playlist created specifically for the object of affection on Spotify is a new version of the mixtape, only more personalized and thoughtful. Each song is a carefully chosen message, and the order of tracks forms an emotional journey. He added our song to his public playlist. Today, this is tantamount to a public declaration of feelings. Soft stalking has become a commonly accepted practice for studying a potential partner. Reviewing all social networks, analyzing friends, interests, and even comments under posts from 5 years ago. This is the modern equivalent of asking mutual acquaintances. At the same time, an accidental like on an old photo can betray a secret investigation and become a source of embarrassment, or the beginning of a conversation. Joint TikTok viewing has evolved into a special form of intimacy. Sending videos to each other creates a shared information field and forms a unique language for the couple. "This reminded me of you." A phrase accompanying a funny video can carry more emotional charge than a long message. In the modern world, relationships are no longer limited to a single communication channel. Generations Z and Alpha live in an era of unprecedented multi-platform communication, where each social network and messenger plays its unique role in building intimacy. It's like living in a house with many rooms, each designed for a specific type of communication. Instagram serves as a showcase for relationships, where filtered moments of happiness are posted. TikTok becomes a platform for collaborative creativity and humor. Discord creates a space for long voice sessions during games. Telegram stores the most intimate correspondence and secrets, and gaming platforms allow for joint challenges and building virtual worlds. Young people masterfully switch between these channels, intuitively understanding what content is appropriate on each platform. A morning compliment in direct messages, a like on an Instagram photo in the afternoon, a joint gaming session in the evening, and a video call before bed. This multi-layered communication structure creates a voluminous portrait of relationships. Each platform reveals different facets of a personality. A partner who is reserved in text messages might open up in in-game voice chats. A person who avoids public displays of affection on Instagram might create touching playlists on Spotify. This multi-channel approach allows for a comprehensive view of each other, in different situations and contexts. This in turn gives rise to a new skill: the ability to assemble a holistic image of a person from fragments scattered across different platforms. Modern relationships require digital literacy and the ability to read between the lines of messages on various platforms, creating a unified picture of feelings. The pandemic turned the dating world upside down. But for digital generations, it only accelerated a natural evolution. Virtual dates became not a forced measure, but a full-fledged alternative to traditional meetings, opening new horizons of intimacy without physical presence. Joint online games have become an ideal platform for first dates. There's no awkward silence at a cafe table. There's a common goal, teamwork, and an opportunity to show your best qualities. We met in Minecraft, built a house together, and then a relationship is a typical Generation Z love story. Netflix Party and other synchronized viewing services have created a new ritual, a virtual movie night. The ability to see your partner's reactions, discuss what's happening in chat without being distracted from the movie, has become for many an even more comfortable form of intimacy than a traditional trip to the cinema. Virtual tours of cities around the world allow couples to travel together, being thousands of kilometers apart. We walk the streets of Paris, each sitting in our own room in different countries. The new romance of the digital age. Technology expands not only geographical, but also emotional boundaries. Apps for couples allow synchronizing heartbeats, sending tactile signals via smartphones, and creating joint digital diaries. For Generations Z and Alpha, these tools don't replace real intimacy, but create a new dimension of intimacy inaccessible to previous generations. In a world where every moment of life is captured by a camera, the selfie has become not just a photograph, but a tool for constructing identity and expressing feelings. For Generations Z and Alpha, selfie culture has changed the very notion of self-presentation in relationships, transforming visual images into a key element of romantic communication. Modern couples document every stage of their relationships through carefully curated photographs. From the first date to an anniversary, every moment becomes an occasion for creating a visual narrative. Relationship status is confirmed not by a wedding ring, but by the appearance of joint photos on social media. To make a relationship official today, means to publish the first shared selfie. Young people masterfully use visual codes to convey complex emotional messages. Camera angle, lighting, filters, facial expression. All of this combines into a multi-layered message. A selfie in a partner's t-shirt, a photo with their pet, a snapshot in their apartment. Such visual markers declare belonging and intimacy more effectively than words. The constant documentation of relationships creates a new phenomenon. Life lived simultaneously in the moment and for a future post. This will be a great photo for Instagram, a phrase that often precedes romantic moments. Sociologists note that such a dual reality can both enhance the experience of the moment and distract from it. Virtual worlds have long ceased to be mere entertainment. For generations Z and Alpha, they have transformed into full-fledged social spaces where genuine feelings are born and develop. Minecraft, Fortnite, World of Warcraft, and other multiplayer games have become new platforms for dating, relationships, and even weddings. The phenomenon of in-game marriages is particularly telling. Thousands of couples annually hold virtual ceremonies in games like Final Fantasy XIV, where special locations and mechanics for such events exist. For many, this is not just entertainment, but a significant ritual to which friends from real life and the gaming community are invited. Joint construction of virtual worlds creates a unique form of intimacy. When two people build a house together in Minecraft, or develop a shared base in Valheim, they learn to cooperate, plan for the future, and resolve conflicts. These skills imperceptibly transfer into real relationships. The story of Alex and Marina is typical for the new generation. Having met in an online game guild, they communicated by voice for months, conquering challenging dungeons together before deciding to meet in person. I already knew how he behaved in stressful situations, how he solved problems, and how he treated other players. This gave me a deeper understanding of his personality than a dozen ordinary dates, Marina recounts. Game mechanics naturally foster partnership skills. Role distribution in a team, joint overcoming of difficulties, mutual support. All of this becomes training for real relationships. Psychologists note that couples who met in games often demonstrate a high level of communication skills and emotional intelligence. In an era of transparent digital borders, jealousy has taken on new, previously unknown forms. Orbiting is a phenomenon where a former partner continues to follow your life through social media without making direct contact. They view every story, like posts, but never write. This creates a strange feeling of a ghostly presence that can last for years after a breakup. Digital stalking has become so widespread that Gen Z and Alpha have developed an entire system of defense mechanisms. Private accounts, closed lists of close friends, temporary blocks. Tools that help control who has access to personal information. I only create stories for close friends when I start a new relationship. A typical strategy for protection against jealous exes. The public nature of relationships gives rise to new forms of distrust. Comments under a partner's photos. Unknown followers. Unexpected tags in other people's photos. All of this becomes a potential source of conflict. Why did you like her photo at 2 in the morning? A question that can provoke a crisis in modern relationships. Young people are developing new strategies for trust in a world where private life is becoming increasingly public. Some couples practice complete digital transparency, open access to passwords and devices. Others, on the contrary, establish clear boundaries of digital privacy, recognizing everyone's right to personal space even in the virtual world. We trust algorithms to select movies, music, and news. Now, we also trust them with choosing potential partners. Dating apps and social networks use complex mathematical models to determine who we might like. And this subtly changes the very nature of romantic choice for generations Z and Alpha. Algorithmic recommendation systems operate on the principle, if you like A, then you'll probably like B. Tinder shows profiles of people who are liked by users with similar preferences. Instagram promotes content similar to what you've already viewed. As a result, filter bubbles are formed, closed informational spaces where we only see certain types of people and relationships. Research shows that these systems gradually narrow our perception of attractiveness. If an algorithm notices that you show interest in a certain type of appearance or profession, it will show you more such people, reinforcing your initial preferences. What started as a slight preference can turn into a rigid template for partner selection. Algorithmic bias is particularly concerning. App developers admit that their systems often prioritize certain groups of people based on profile popularity. This creates a vicious cycle. The popular become even more popular, while deserving people who don't fit standard criteria of attractiveness remain invisible. For generations Z and Alpha, who grew up with these technologies, algorithmic taste formation has become the norm. They rely less on chance encounters and more on digital compatibility. The algorithm brought us together. A new romantic story of the digital age. The digital age has granted us unprecedented communication opportunities. But how does this impact the emotional maturity of younger generations? This question becomes particularly pertinent as we observe how generations Z and Alpha cultivate their emotional intelligence in an environment where feelings are often expressed through a screen. The accessibility of emotional support is one of the main advantages of the digital era. A teenager experiencing a crisis can instantly find a community of people with similar experiences, receiving support and advice. Young people create groups in messengers where they share their fears and hopes, forming spaces of unconditional acceptance. This constant connection with like-minded individuals helps them avoid feeling alone in their experiences. The variety of ways to express feelings also contributes to emotional development. If someone finds it difficult to talk about their emotions directly, they can use memes, music playlists, or even gaming metaphors. Such indirect forms of communication allow them to overcome vulnerability barriers and learn to recognize their own emotional states. However, digital communication also poses serious challenges to emotional development. Superficiality of contacts is a problem many young people face. Accustomed to quick likes and short comments, they may struggle to maintain deep emotional connections that require time and effort. Research shows that some members of Generation Z experience real stress from the need for prolonged personal communication without the ability to switch to other stimuli. Reliance on external validation becomes another obstacle to emotional maturity. When self-esteem is tied to the number of likes and comments, a fragile emotional system develops, vulnerable to external evaluations. Young people may lose touch with their own feelings, focusing solely on audience reactions. We live in an era where the lines between online and offline existence have become almost indistinguishable. For generations Z and Alpha, digital and physical spaces have long merged into a single hybrid reality, where relationships develop simultaneously in both dimensions. This is not merely a technological phenomenon, but a fundamental shift in the way human connections exist. Young people are developing unique strategies for integrating digital and physical experiences. Many couples practice conscious switching between modes of interaction. Time spent together without phones is replaced by periods of active online communication. This is not a split personality, but a natural existence in a multi-dimensional reality. Digital detox has become an important element of modern relationships. The deliberate refusal of gadgets for a certain time is perceived as a special act of intimacy and trust. We turn off our phones on weekends to truly be together, a new form of intimacy in an information-saturated world. The search for authenticity becomes the main challenge for relationships in the digital age. When every moment can be edited and filtered, the ability to be genuine acquires special value. Young people learn to distinguish between real emotions and their digital imitations, creating spaces where all masks can be removed. In this hybrid reality, new rituals of intimacy are born. Jointly turning off notifications before an important conversation. Creating digital time capsules, archives of messages and photos that a couple promises to open in a few years. These practices help to conceptualize and integrate technological experience into the fabric of human relationships. Imagine a world where virtual reality allows you not just to see and hear your partner from a distance, but also to feel their touch. Where artificial intelligence analyzes your emotional reactions and helps resolve conflicts even before they arise. Where your marriage contract is recorded on the blockchain and automatically regulates financial relationships. This is not a scene from a science fiction film, but the near future of romantic relationships, which is already beginning to take shape before our eyes. VR and AR technologies promise a revolution in long-distance relationships. Tactile interfaces are already being developed that allow the transmission of touch sensations over the internet. In the next decade, couples separated by oceans will be able to walk hand in hand through virtual parks or dance in the augmented reality of their living room. AI companions will become an integral part of the romantic landscape. From applications that analyze communication patterns and suggest ways to improve communication, to virtual therapists available 24/7. For some, AI will not be an assistant, but the partner itself. Millions of people are already forming emotional bonds with virtual interlocutors. Blockchain technologies will create a new infrastructure for formalizing relationships. Smart contracts will allow couples to create personalized cohabitation agreements that go beyond traditional marriage. This is especially important for generations who strive for flexible forms of partnership and value transparency in all aspects of relationships.